Hey, what?
Oh my God! Oh my God, it's you! Hey! It's season 9. Can you even believe that?
Oh my God.
It's season 9 of Cook with Jake and Joy and
Janis, all the J's.
Yeah, and Derek.
Yeah.
And,
Hi. I missed you guys.
Oh, we miss you so much. You know, it's
Yeah.
been so hard to be apart, but you know, we're going to get a lot of episodes in this season, and we're starting out with something awesome. Jake and Jameson are going to join us in just a couple minutes. They're coming in from the airport, and we're having a family dinner tonight.
Yay!
Janice is here.
Just in time for Mardi Gras.
Just in time for Mardi Gras, that's right. So Janis is actually going to be our guest chef tonight as we kick off this season 9, which is going to be so fun.
Season 9 already?
Season 9.
Oh.
Crazy.
Yeah. You remember I did
Makes
that
you feel
first one all
old,
by myself.
Yeah, why would you do that? Why did you...
Because I didn't know you.
Oh, I started without me.
It was terrible.
What are we making tonight?
We're making jambalaya, and Janis will tell you all about it.
So we start with the Holy Trinity, which is olive oil that you're sauteing onion, green and red pepper, garlic, jalapeno, and celery. Then we add to that the spice mix, and that includes salt, pepper, oregano, basil. We also use smoked paprika. Some people call it for sweet paprika. Some people like to put cayenne pepper in this as well. Some people like to put basil. Then we go into the veggie broth. I used 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. You could use a whole can. We used 15-ounce can of diced tomatoes. We also included 2 cups of brown basmati rice. And then finally, we finished it up with our secondary vegetables of zucchini. You could also use yellow squash. Mushrooms, we used white mushrooms, you could use any kind, and then frozen okra, about a cup of that. Then we had red beans, kidney beans. We used both kidney beans and aduki beans. And finally, we used 2 sausages of the Beyond sausage. We're gonna top it off with Frank's hot sauce and sriracha and a little bit of fresh parsley on each bowl. So this is a multi-process, and I love this dish because it's a great vegan, hearty dish, and it's a rice-based dish. So kind of in every culture, we have a rice or bread or potato-based dish. And this one comes from New Orleans, straight from our Creole brothers and sisters. So
Wait, is Fat Tuesday coming up?
Fat Tuesday is
Yeah.
coming up, but right now we're in the middle of Mardi Gras, so everybody's getting their groove on. And Fat Tuesday, of course, is the day before Ash Wednesday when Lent starts. And for those that celebrate in that way, it's the end of all debauchery. So no more drinking, no more probably
Who says?
sex, no more
I think
smoking.
you only have to give up one thing.
Well, it
I
has
just
to be a
think-
big thing.
I just think one thing. I'm
All
going
right.
to give up rice.
Okay.
So one of the things we're going to do first.
I'm going to give up
before-
lima beans, by the
Before
way.
we show, Derek's going to give up cauliflower. Before,
Hate cauliflower.
so
Okay.
before we get into the Holy Trinity,
Right.
which really shouldn't be called that, but we're going to start with the rice. And you guys have heard us talk before about how rice has arsenic in it just naturally, and a lot of people don't realize that. So you actually,
By the way, it depends on where it's grown.
well,
So even in this country, there are 3 states that have a high degree of arsenic in the
Yes.
soil, and then there are places around the world that have a
We
high
talked
degree.
about that in previous episodes.
we
I
have,
think.
but
Yeah.
it's really good to soak it overnight, and then we're going to parboil it instead of just, you know how you normally boil all the water down. We're actually going to parboil this rice. This is
lot of
brown
water.
basmati rice, which has the lowest content of arsenic. So we're rinsing it really, really, really well.
And
We've
it's been soaking overnight.
yeah, and we've got water boiling, and we're just going to add that, and that's going to cook while we cook up everything else, or we chop up everything else, because you know most of our show is chopping.
Why don't we just call it chopping with joy?
I know it should just be chopping,
Chopping
with Jake and
with
Joy.
Jake and Joy.
Yes,
And
chopping,
Janis.
chopping and shopping. Okay.
I feel left out because my name doesn't start with a J.
know, you
well,
could be
could
Jared.
change-
Jarek?
Yeah, you
Be
could
Jarek.
just for this
You'd be
show.
like,
It'd be-
sort of like Derek
It is.
Jeter.
So the rice is on. How long is that going to take, Janice?
We're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. That's a good
Okay,
parboil.
I'm setting it in my head for 10 minutes. I'm looking at the clock.
Looking at
I
the
can
clock
remember
at
that's 10 minutes.
56. Yep.
And while that's boiling, we're preparing what you call the Holy Trinity, which actually looks like 5 things, not 3. If you know what Trinity means, it's 3.
Is it?
Yes.
Trinity.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
But we're doing
Cool.
5 things, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things.
6 things.
What
Yeah.
about this? What about this?
That's coming in later.
coming up
What about
later.
the wine?
Later.
Does that count
The
as a
wine,
thing?
That
the
does
thing,
not
the thing
count.
is, the wine is part of it.
Okay.
It's important.
That's how you can go from Trinity to 5. Is
Yes,
just drinking
That's
enough
right.
wine.
6.
Three
3 to 6.
right.
Okay, so tell us about the Trinity and
Sure.
tell us like
and
how
let me
that.
just say about this rice. So
Okay.
it's sitting in a lot of water. This is not the water that I would normally prepare the rice.
Well, before
in.
you knew about the arsenic.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it would just be something that I would add into the Holy Trinity and
Right.
saute together like a
Right,
roux,
right,
right? Or
right,
a base.
right.
So it's going to boil for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to empty out all that water. We're going to rinse it one more time, and then we'll add that parboiled rice into our Holy Trinity.
And so it'll reduce the amount of arsenic. And if you are somebody who is thinking about having a kid or you've got kids, you really want to do this. And this is so important for Jake because they eat rice all day,
Yep.
every day.
And this particular preparation and all the studies that have been done, this takes out 90% of the arsenic. When you soak it overnight, rinse it, boil it in a bunch of water, and rinse it one more time.
And
You'll
then
remove
throw
at
the
least
rice
90.
out.
Right.
Okay, so
Very good.
tell us about this Holy Trinity.
Great. So this, again, just like cultures have rice dishes and potato dishes and things that have starch in them, in this jambalaya, we're starting with this great kind of roux, like it's this flavor-filled melange.
Melange,
And
I love that word.
melange.
Say it again.
It's a flavor-filled melange.
Melange.
And if you think about it, think about onions and how savory they are.
That's going to be a word that we use throughout this season.
Oh,
Me-
good.
melange.
The word of the
Melange.
season, melange. And then green pepper, pepper.
Every time you say melange,
pepper.
you have to drink.
Green
No, we'll never get
pepper
through this
has
season.
a lot of flavor in it, and it's a younger pepper than the red pepper, so we do those next. And then the garlic goes in after that, and then the jalapenos, and then finally the celery. And the celery, is a very salty kind of flavor. And
It is. It's so crazy. When I've done juice fasts. You guys know about that. I've shared that before.
Sure.
And one of the first juices that you have is celery, and it tastes like you're drinking salt.
Yes.
You're not talking me into it.
It's so crazy. And there's a lot of stuff like these days. People are doing celery diets and
Sure.
celery juice and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
It plays well in the Holy
Yeah.
Trinity.
Okay, so now what do
we're
you
going to
do?
put some olive oil, and by some, depends on what region of the country you come from. In my region, which is Colorado, we're very health-based, so we would probably say a tablespoon or 2 at the most.
Okay,
And
so I would like to put that pot on the other pot because you get a higher flame. Don't you want a higher flame?
not for the rice you do. For this, you don't necessarily
okay.
need a higher flame.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Because this is the lowest flame I have.
Of everything?
Yeah, so that's one thing about natural gas, and there's a lot of controversy over natural gas these days. I love natural gas as a cook because I can totally control the temperature.
Right.
But there's a lot of people who think that there's harm to your health,
Totally.
etc. So,
Yep.
but I love it for controlling.
So let's trade it out.
Okay, cool.
We're going to put this stuff,
Good.
we're going to put the rice on the smaller
Okay.
burner,
All right.
and we're going to turn
It's been
that
4
down.
minutes.
I'm going to turn that up to about a 2, sometimes a 3, depending upon your stove. So we're going to let that oil get heated up. And again, I'm on about medium heat. I
Now,
find that
Janis, what if you used broth instead of the oil?
I haven't done it that way.
Because I do that a lot. I use broth instead of oil, and for me, it's not a huge difference in taste.
Okay.
I know that we have those 3 main taste buds. We have thousands of taste buds, but fat, salt, and sugar are the main ones. So if you can satisfy those, but we're going to be adding the Beyond sugar, the Beyond sausage later, so that will give. So you could, if you want to skip the olive oil,
Yep.
you could just use vegetable broth.
Yep, and everybody's different in that way.
Yeah.
I love the whole Mediterranean diet. I personally don't shy away as a vegan. I don't shy away from fat. I do shy away from saturated fat. But when I'm using things like olive oil or coconut oil, I don't shy away.
Yeah.
But everybody's different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Here we go.
Yep.
So first thing I'm going to add, when that oil, you can hear that it's ready to go. That's the other part I like, is the sizzle.
The vegetable broth sizzles
Does it?
too. Yeah.
You think that she's on a kick to get you? Do you think she's sponsored by this vegetable broth company?
Hey.
I don't know.
Melange. Go ahead. There you go.
Melange. Is it a melange?
Yep.
And what do you use? Do you have wooden? What do you use as your...
I don't have wooden. I use rubber. Yep.
Okay,
I don't
great.
have wooden because it soaks up so much water
Yeah,
and it grows mold. And so unless you're constantly changing your wooden spoons, I do not recommend using wooden spoons myself.
All right.
I like
It's
them.
another sponsorship she has,
Yeah.
by the way.
I like them and I like the concept of them, but you really have to change them out quite a bit. People don't realize that, and there's so much bacteria that grows when you're cooking and then washing and then cooking.
So what I would
saying.
say is that, like, the experts, the Jambalaya experts, they don't necessarily say what order that you should put these in. Speaking personally, I always like to go onion, then pepper, then garlic.
What about the celery? That takes so much longer.
It doesn't.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right. Well, there you go. My sister knows everything.
That's right.
Okay, so now you want the garlic?
Yeah, and every time I add a new ingredient, by the way, I'm going to spend a little time giving it a little love, stirring it
Stroking
in.
it.
Stroking it.
Whoa. It's not that kind of show. I mean, it's your show. You can do whatever you want.
What do you think I'm talking about?
The celery stalk.
Okay,
The
so
cylindrical
yeah.
celery stalk.
Next I'm going to go garlic.
Okay.
That's a lot of garlic.
Yeah, you think
No
it's too much?
vampires.
Yeah.
Okay, just like that?
So you don't have to, these are 6 really large cloves
It says
of garlic.
6 cloves.
So I'm fine putting it all in because I love it.
I do too.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay.
Joy, what are the health benefits of garlic?
Oh my
Well, so
goodness.
garlic is an antibacterial and antifungal, and right now I don't know anybody who doesn't need an antiviral and antifungal, antibacterial. Allicin is its main component, and it also, like, if you like garlic and you only want to date people who like garlic, it's a really
They
good
have
way.
websites for that.
It's a really good way to weed people out. But everything that we're putting in, here's the thing, guys. All plants are so full of antioxidants, and it's not even that they're so full of antioxidants. They trip your body into producing more antioxidants that aren't even in them. So your body is an antioxidant producing machine. And I'll tell you more about that in just a minute.
And now we're going to do jalapenos.
The jalapenos next.
Yeah, because that's another form of pepper.
And pepper has capsaicin in it, which is great for your stomach. So many things that it does for your microbiome that is awesome. They're also a nightshade, and some people think they can't tolerate nightshades. My belief is that they have an issue with their microbiome. For me, it's hard to imagine that there are plants on this planet that aren't designed for us, but I could be wrong, because I know there are lots of people who can't eat nightshades. Nightshades are things like eggplant, potatoes,
tomatoes.
red peppers, tomatoes. Well, red and green peppers are actually the same plant. The red pepper just has ripened.
Yeah, I just meant peppers.
Yeah, peppers in general. Are you
And
ready
then-
for the celery? or
Yeah,
not?
and some healers say that you use those nightshades as a healing property, like as a medicine when you need it, like
Do you
an
want this?
eggplant. Let's do celery last.
All right. So tell me about, like, I know there's something called sofrito. I don't know very much about that. But would you say that the Holy Trinity is like sofrito?
Yeah, so if you go into the Spanish culture, which again, remember that New Orleans was settled, it's such a melting pot. And so there's a lot of French influence, there's a lot of African influence, there's a lot of West
Influence,
Indies.
it sounds like. Influence.
There's a lot of influence from the Caribbean, and then Spain, of course, you can't get away from because that's the whole Catholic influence. So another really popular dish in Spain is called paella. If you live in Holland, they like to call it paella because they think everyone
She's
should
married to a
pronounce the
Dutchman.
double L's. But at the base of it all, so the base of a paella is what's called the sofrito, and it's
really?
made
I
of
didn't know
tomato,
that.
onion, and garlic.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Saffron.
I thought sofrito was just Spanish.
Yeah, no.
No, it's
So now we're
interesting.
having and then like if you're making a gumbo, you'd use a roux. And then in the jambalaya, you use the Holy Trinity.
Interesting.
So like if I'm making a chili, for instance, I'll start this very way. If I'm making vegetarian chili.
Really? You use peppers in chili?
Absolutely.
I do not.
Now I'm ready for spices.
Okay.
So this is
All
where we
right.
want to salt, pepper, oregano,
Okay.
smoked
Let
paprika.
me get my act together here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if we have any wooden spoons in here.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a wooden spoon if you really want a wooden
No,
spoon.
that's for a salad.
Well, I know, but you can use it.
No. Oh, that's
Yeah, I
good.
just don't use wooden spoons.
That's awesome. No, I just wanted to know what you used.
Okay, so what do we need? We need smoked paprika.
Salt. We
Thyme.
start with salt and pepper.
Okay.
Always.
Okay.
Salt and pepper.
How much do you want?
A good healthy portion. I would probably take it from here.
Okay. Personally, I like to add salt later because I try to follow a low sodium diet, and you can't take salt away,
Yep.
but you can add more.
Plus, Joy is already kind of salty.
I am salty. So I just added quite a bit. Do we want to see how it is? Or do you
Yeah,
need it?
so it's like what
There,
I
that's
find, what the New Orleans people say is that you really open up the flavor with the salt. And I would say that the Quebecians, you know, the people in North America that are really concerned with great cooking, they're going to say the salt opens up the flavor.
Okay.
That's great.
Looks like
Plenty.
a lot of salt.
Yep. And now we need a good solid teaspoon or more of the smoked paprika.
Okay. And you can use a spoon if you want to, but Janis is pretty much flying by the seat of her pants
Yep.
here, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just
Yep.
going to do an educated.
I do what the love says to do.
Okay, that looks
This
like
is how we
about
do it
right.
on the show. We
That's
don't measure.
right. This
We
is-
do sometimes. Sometimes
If we're
we
baking
measure.
in particular. And you know what's really cool about this Creole cooking is that we think about like smoked paprika and cumin. We should have some cumin.
You didn't ask for
and
that.
then oregano and thyme, and you're like, well, boy, you're crossing genres there. You're
Okay,
going
so
from,
you didn't ask for cumin, but now you want cumin.
That'd be
Okay.
great.
I need to hunt it down. Okay, I found it because
Yay.
yeah. So this is black cumin, and Dr. Greger in his book How to Not Die talks about using cumin as a just for so many reasons, like for heart health, for weight loss, just so many things about it. And so this is a very special black cumin. I mean, now what?
So now we're going to saute the rice. This is where we first start making this, like if you
is
were
it a
to make...
melange?
Would somebody say melange again?
Yeah, we said melange.
There you go.
Okay, I already had some out of hers.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yay.
Okay, so adding the rice to the melange. I'm not drinking.
So when
again.
you add this rice, you know, this is very similar to if you were making paella, or like a Spanish rice, or
which we're gonna make in this season.
or even like a mujadara. Something. A
know
lot
what
of different
mujadara
cultures have this sort of thing. So you're putting the rice in there, and then you're taking this Holy Trinity or whatever your sofrito is, and you're going to mix it together so it becomes like a saute, like a fried rice, sort of, right? But it's
Yeah.
not done yet.
It's so interesting. It's across every culture.
Every culture.
Just like take some starch, mix some pungent stuff with it,
Yeah,
add some veggies and some hot sauce, and eat it.
exactly.
No cheese.
Notice that.
Okay,
Except
so
if
what's
you're in India.
so what do we now? Do you want me to turn the heat up on
Yes,
this?
I do, because we've turned it down a bit
Yeah,
just
okay.
to allow for the
Okay.
time we've taken. Now we're going to take the veggie broth and we're going to pour it into this bowl.
That sounds so fun.
I know. Now we're making, so by the way, jambalaya can come in two forms. And the form that we're making is the red form, the kind that's tomato-based. There's a non-tomato-based
Oh, really?
jambalaya as well,
Okay.
which I have never made
Okay.
before.
I want to say one thing about broth, and we are going to make a broth recipe in this season. You know, this is packaged broth. We often use homemade broth, and broth is, especially vegetable broth, is a natural collagen producer. And
Hey,
People don't
Jake's here.
oh my god! Oh my god! Is it? Oh,
Hi! I'm turning this off.
Making jambalaya for you. Hi. Hi. Do you want some jambalaya?
Just waking up.
Are you just waking up? Hi.
Guys, you gotta come in and see what Janis is making us for dinner.
Yay!
Jambalaya
Jambalaya! It's jambalaya night.
We can't wait.
Yeah, we're almost. You can see we're almost done. Have a glass of wine. Go unpack. Show Jameson around. Show Papa around. And we'll see you at the dinner table. I'm so happy you guys are here. I love you guys. Bye. Bye, Jameson. Okay.
All right,
right,
back to the
where were we?
broth. So you were saying something about veggie broth, and I was gonna stir tomato paste into my broth.
I was just saying that, a lot of people think that, like, you gotta
What
take...
is that? Hold on, what is that?
This is tomato paste in a tube. It's a new thing to me. I usually take it out of a can, but Joy's so fancy.
Well, I like it because you don't always use the whole can, and then it just goes
Totally.
bad.
Yep.
And it also, even though they say it has a non-BPA lining, I
Right.
don't necessarily trust that. So
Okay.
I love having this. But I just want to say this about veggie broth. We make our own. We're going to do a veggie broth on this show. But, a lot of people are into collagen right now. It's like everywhere. Our bodies are what produces collagen. You can't
Sure.
take exogenous collagen and have it become endogenous.
What does exogenous mean?
Exogenous means outside of your body.
talked about this
Endogenous is
before.
inside your body.
Okay.
And so
I've heard of endogenous zones. Is that right?
erogenous.
You're
Erogenous zone. Okay. And that's not the same thing.
So you
Not
want
the
to, you
same
want to
thing.
give your body what it needs to produce collagen, and that's vegetables, lots of them. And what we put in veggie broth is what triggers your body to produce collagen on its own as we age. So
That's so awesome.
I'm 101, and I think I look pretty damn good.
I thought you were 35.
How could she have that daughter? It's reverse aging. So we're going to add this now. And so once this goes into our rice mixture, this is going to become more like a soupy thing. And then we're going to put the second round of
Okay.
vegetables
So you want me to
and
start
sausage
chopping?
and beans in. Yep, go
So
ahead.
start chopping.
Start chopping the mushrooms.
Do you want them sliced or chopped?
Sliced is fine. You can sliced and chopped. So this is going
Sliced
in. This
and
is
chopped
4
and sliced and
cups
chopped.
of broth, along with 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. If I were, using a little can, it'd be a baby can, and I would, really mix it up that way so that
Like a melange.
like
Dang. Woo. This show's going to go downhill quick.
Good thing we're only doing one episode tonight, yeah?
Yep. So by the way, that was 4 cups of liquid. I'm going to add another 2 cups of water.
Of just water?
The other option is to open this can of tomatoes and make it super tomatoey.
Okay.
So do you like a lot of tomatoes in your?
I personally do, but I don't
Great.
know if everybody does.
Let's do it then.
So one thing I want to say about these tomatoes, it's really important when you buy tomatoes, like how you buy them. Most tomatoes are really high in sodium. I do not know why. They do not need any. They have natural sodium in them. So look and see on the back. I mean, in general, when you look at anything that's canned or packaged, you want the sodium content to be equal to the amount of calories that are in it.
okay.
So look at the
Awesome.
back of that, and what does it say?
So it says in the whole can
Uh-huh.
of calories.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Or
the-
per serving.
well,
Per
per
serving,
serving
is
is 35 calories.
Right.
And 6 servings.
fine. And
So
yeah.
I'm going to put in half of this can.
Right, but so I think that one has 50 grams of sodium, milligrams of sodium. Which
Yep,
is
50
touch,
milligrams.
It's a touch high, but if you look at most traditional ones, this is a Italian brand. And if you look at
put in
most,
half that
they
can.
have like over 200 milligrams
Right.
for a 20 calorie. So you really, it's a place that you can really save on sodium.
Yeah. Good for
So-
you.
Yeah, and that's really important to me, especially like the broth that we use. It's a low sodium broth. Of course, if you make your own broth, you can have no
Control.
salt. Yeah, you can totally not add any salt at all. Which I don't add any salt to
Yeah.
my broth. I usually let people salt stuff afterwards, but I totally hear you that it can bring out the flavors. So
And I just get that from people, sort of
Did you
gourmets
see my
of different
fingers?
traditions.
Janice, can we real quick identify the nails? And can we Pay attention to the nails.
I kind of want people to see my
What is that logo?
my
Oh,
Jake and Joy logo.
That's
Is that
sweet.
Joy and Janice.
That's kind of dedicated. Joy and
Today, tonight,
Janis,
it's
Joy and
Joy- it's
Jake, Joy and
JJ.
Jameson,
Janice,
JJ.
John, Jameson.
And Derek.
And
Derek.
Derek. We should probably
Derek.
add your
Let's-
D to our logo. What do you think? Should I add these?
You can add those. So what we're going to do now is add what I call the secondary vegetables. The first recipe that I made of vegan jambalaya actually had me saute these secondary vegetables. I found it completely useless. It was like saute them for 30 seconds. And I was like, well, why would I do that? I'm just adding more fat to the mixture. So
Because they want to feed that fat thing. you know?
Right. So I don't do that anymore. I add the secondary vegetables to the primary or to the Holy Trinity once they're ready to go. So yes, you can add those, absolutely. I'm doing zucchini, and I'm doing I'm not the world's greatest. I don't do things perfectly. My husband chops these things so perfectly.
I do them fast is what I
Me
do.
too.
So I cut down the middle, then down the middle again, and then I cut because I'm impatient.
Yep.
I know it's hard to believe about me.
No. So John would take probably 5 times this amount of time. This seems fast to me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take these ones that I'm finished with now, and I'm going to take this is so technical, but I'm going to
Now, do you measure
cross-
this before you
not
do
a
it?
bit.
No, there's
Not
no
even one bit.
circumference
It's all
and then
just
the
with
ratio.
love. No.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. I like to say if I were to have a cooking show, it'd be cook with love. When somebody says, what makes your jambalaya taste so good? I say, it's that extra little bit of love.
That live.
Yeah, so now my zucchini's ready to go, and I usually do go in that order. I tend to go in the order that needs the longest to cook.
Okay.
So we're going to do zucchini, mushroom, okra that doesn't need any time to cook.
Okay.
And then beans and sausage.
Okay, cool.
Okay?
Cool.
All right, here goes my first secondary vegetable.
Now,
Which-
Jake is allergic to zucchini. I should have told you that.
You should have told me that. Yeah,
Shoot.
that
Don't
would
tell
have
her.
been
Don't
good
tell
to
her.
know.
Well, she'll have to pick it out because it makes her lips go on fire.
Okay.
I'm allergic to cauliflower.
Yeah, I was going to
You
say
are
the other
not.
option, I like to put cauliflower in it too.
I'm allergic.
You can do any vegetable
Shoot,
that kind
I
of.
forgot about her being allergic to zucchini.
Wow, so sorry. I should have kept it out.
I didn't think of it.
She'll
till
pick it
now.
out, though.
Yeah.
It won't be too much.
Okay, so
Great.
now.
And then we'll put the mushroom in.
Okay, we ready for that? Okay, here we go.
And these are just
Now,
white
this
mushrooms.
is a lot of mushrooms. Is that too many?
Nope, not
It's
at all.
more than the zucchini.
No.
You know, mushrooms are really high in chromium.
Yes, they are. How did you know that? Do you only know that from our shows?
I listen to when you say
All
stuff.
over the world are being educated. Oh my God.
It's 9 seasons of chromium talk.
Long season.
All the chromium talk.
Okay, and then we're going to do okra. And I don't know anything about the ingredients of, not the ingredients, but the
Ingredients.
phytonutrients in okra. The ingredients in okra is okra.
1. Ingredients 1.
Yeah. Let's look at the back of the package.
Take a look.
Ingredients. Okra.
Okra. Yeah, right.
Now, okra, I know, is like a really southern thing, and I don't use it
Well,
very
it's also
often at
very
all.
common in India and Nepal.
it?
Nepal much more than India. Yep.
So, what do you know about it? So, it's got. I'm looking at what it's got.
It's grown in both countries.
Okay.
I love it.
It's got a
of-
lot of potassium.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing, it doesn't have, but these things never do. You know, they never list like, oh, this much quercetin, this much anthocyanin.
Uh-huh.
Should I add this
We're
now?
going to do half that bag.
Okay, what are you going to do with the other half?
About a cup. We're going to put it back in the freezer.
And then
Give
what?
me just a tiny bit more.
And then what?
Well, then when next time you make
I have never
vegan
used
jambalaya,
okra in my life, so
there it'll be
so
ready
now
for
I
you.
have okra for the rest of my life.
That's
Okay.
right.
All right.
And you may call
my
upon it
okra
one
baby.
day. Yep.
It's my okra baby.
Yep.
Okay, I'll have to
And then
find
the
it.
only thing we have left before we sit and simmer are the red beans.
Okay.
And when I make this at home, I actually soak the beans overnight and then I boil them. I will tell you that kidney beans, I don't know how you feel about, boiling up beans and preparing beans. Kidney beans take the longest of any of the beans out
right.
there. They take hours.
Now, I bought a dookie beans too, and I don't know the difference in the nutritional profile. It's something I should probably look up. I love beans, and we talk a
Some
lot.
people say that you're full of beans.
They do?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody that says that. But the thing, we talk a lot about Joel Fuhrman's G-bombs, and that's greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. And this recipe has a lot of that. Greens, beans, onions, and mushrooms. And we're just missing the berries and the seeds. So,
Sure. So we can put both cans in for sure. I make,
Do you
what I
want
do
both?
is I boil up, I soak a cup of kidney beans, and then I cook them up and put in their yield. So
Okay, do you
we
want
could
the dookie
probably,
beans
yeah,
too?
let's
It's
put
up
the
to you.
others in there too.
it's
Yeah.
up to
You see, we're
you.
very technical about this. We're really
very precise.
particular about our quantities.
We have studied at the, what's it called, the Sorbonne?
School of Hard Knocks.
I have a BS in
You are full
science.
of BS.
Didn't we call it jabamza last year because we added avocado?
Right, because we like avocado too. And we're going to actually do a salad this season that is jibamza. And I personally believe that you should get avocado in your diet every day. There's so many good things in them. But beans, man, what they've known about primates is that one thing that has led to their survival over all other species on this planet is their consumption of beans and greens.
Beans and greens.
Beans and greens.
I feel a rap song
Beans
coming
and
on.
greens and beans and
Maybe
greens
we'll
and
be
beans and
included
greens and
in the
beans and
Super
greens.
Bowl one day.
Yes.
Beans and greens.
Beans and greens and beans and greens and beans and greens
So
and
these are
beans and
dookie
greens.
beans, and of course you want to rinse them if you're taking them out of
I
the
did.
non-BPA cans.
Well, even out of my BPA cans, I want to, because now these days almost all cans are BPA free. But I almost always. That looks amazing.
Yep.
I
And now we
really
have.
haven't had jambalaya.
You have not.
Not really.
One more ingredient that we add, which is sort of like the secret sauce.
Is what?
Some people
hot
say to.
What about basil? I
Some
thought there
people
was
say to
basil in
fry
there.
them up first. Yeah, you can have basil. Some people say to fry them up first. I have found that I like to put them in raw and let the stew cook them because they don't get overcooked that
Okay.
way. I find if you saute them up first, they get a little hard. They kind of become like a rabbit pellet. So I just do two, and I cut them down just like you. By the way, Joy introduced me to Beyond Sausage. I hunted them down in the Boulder area for months. The only place you could get them was at the Whole Foods, they had like a vegan burger bar, and used to
remember that.
ship them
I
to me.
remember that,
She used
yeah.
to send them to me from California because I was so addicted.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then
the head of our company now that we work for, it was the CEO of Beyond
Crazy.
Meat.
so I'm gonna
I can't say that these are like good for you. They're just
Yeah.
not dead animals.
exactly. So
And,
when you think, I mean, a typical jambalaya has sausage in it, has chicken, has shrimp,
Oh,
has
wow.
maybe crawfish. And, we're giving you that flavor, that feeling for the
so
flavor.
what about the parsley and the basil? Is there
the parsley
and basil?
is the garnish at the
Okay,
end.
okay.
And again, you don't have to have this Beyond Sausage, but you probably should. But in my day, when I first started making this, we didn't have any of that. We didn't, Beyond Sausage wasn't
There'd
a
be
thing
none
yet.
of that. None of that.
None of that in there. But I find it's really delightful to get a bite of the Beyond Sausage, and it makes you really go like,
Yeah, no.
oh my God, all right, 20 minutes later.
It looks amazing. I can't believe I
smells-
really don't know jambalaya. It looks so great.
It's so good.
Really
And
cool.
we did not put the Frank's Red Hot, and we didn't put the Sriracha in it. We didn't put any cayenne in it. We did that for Jameson's sake.
Right. And you
Yeah.
know, there are a lot of people who don't like spicy, and I think spicy can always be added later. You
Yep.
don't have to bake it into
Yep.
it. One thing I do want to add, people probably noticed as we were cutting up all the ingredients that we were saving all the ends, the pieces of it all. I do this all the time to add to broth, and I make fresh broth, and that's like so collagen producing. It's just crazy. So I really want to
So
recommend
it's really
that.
sort of like a melange.
It's a melange.
Oh, here we go.
It's a melange.
Goodness. Good thing I'm not drinking or this would be out of
Good
focus.
thing. That good thing. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this, and
The last thing I do is just stir it up. And those of us that do like it spicy, we can add these to our bowls.
Great.
And we can garnish it with fresh parsley, and it's a meal in itself.
That's awesome. And you can do a salad with it if you really wanted,
Sure.
but I find that one dish, and we're gonna focus a lot this season on one dish meals.
One dish meals.
And I'm really, really excited.
Instant
Thank you so
pot
much for coming all the way out from Boulder to
I'm
do
so
that for
glad
us.
to be with you,
Love
honey.
you so much.
Oh, I love you too.